All right, having some technical difficulties. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. Can you guys hear me? I had some problems with my earbuds here. I had to reboot here. They say they're working. Hey, can you guys hear me? Oh, okay, good. Good. Now, let's see here. Matt Tinsman should be joining us soon. Maybe he's having some technical difficulties too here. Hey, anybody got any tournament updates to talk about? Um, I didn't have any tournaments, but myself and Bass and STL did a little Mystery Lake challenge this weekend, and we had an epic top water day. You saw my post on that. That's going to be an awesome video. I can't wait to get to edit it, but it won't be after the fourth vacation here. I know. I hope everyone's taking a little vacation off, enjoying the family, kicking back here. And for that means too, it's going to extend through Monday, like a lot of people. So next Monday we will not be doing a live stream. Let me check on Mr. Tinsman here. Brad, you out there? Brad was traveling down to somewhere in Tennessee. It was happening in Old Hickory, I think. Usually takes a few minutes to get people here. I just texted Matt. Um, hey, Eric, you also fished a USA Bastion on Saturday, I believe. How'd you guys end up in that one? Did you check? Hey, Jim, how's it going? Good to see you. Mr. Big Bass Jones. 12? Okay. How, how'd you guys do? What'd you catch for how many pounds here, and what won the tournament here? How tight was it? Jim, you'd been doing any fishing, any practicing anywhere, just kicking back? Any tournaments down there on Kentucky Barkley? I think you do a Barkley division, USA Bassin or something, don't you? Wow. Three fish limit, yeah, because of summer, and 15 won it. Three 5 pounders. Oh, man, that's impressive. That is impressive, my friends. Okay, got number 4 for this week. Anybody else got any weekend tournament updates to share with the crew? I know Dustin tunes in a lot too. Hey, Dustin, he's been having some issues trying to get texting working. Trying to find them schools, yeah, the offshore schools out on the ledges and main river channels and stuff. Yeah, out in Kentucky Lake, Jim, or Barkley. I wonder how it's recuperating from all the tournaments, but I guess they have tournaments all the time here. A lot of bass in the Tennessee River. On the big lake, yeah, okay. Cool, cool. Yeah, I'm going to be hopping in the LBL. I got myself a boater link here, so I'll be going down and doing that. That'll be a week from Saturday on the 12th. Um, Total incentive is like, the Berkeley gift pack here. You're basically breaking even with some fishing gear. We get a fishing reel too, and we'll get it'll be tournament number 4 there, and it'll be tournament number 4 down at Ren Lake on the Illini on the 19th here. Trying to get more than consolation points once again here. Fishing with Eric here gave me a little more confidence. In fact, I was so sore. I'm glad I had a chiropractor visit today. I had to have her work on my top water muscles over here. They were sore. Oh yeah, at least a tournament a weekend, sometimes 2 or more. Oh, for sure. It's unbelievable how many tournaments they can kick out on that lake here. Oh, you are. Hey, maybe I'll draw you. We got a bunch of familiar names on the crew here that'll be fishing that LBL here. Awesome, awesome, hopping in it. I'm not sure if they put it up on the website here. Um, Last July they made it a 3 bass limit for everybody thing here. Do you know if they're going to do that for boaters this time, or they probably do that when they have July tournaments? Let's see who else we got on. We should have someone else on there. Brad, you there? Still not hearing from Matt here. I know he said his computer was broken and asked me if he could do it on his cell phone. I said, yeah, just have some lighting and have some power here. Maybe he's got some last minute glitches here. We'll wait around a little while longer here. Any other midsummer topics you guys want to hit here? Like I said here, we'll take next Monday off for the holiday. And then the next Monday after that will be kind of a Rend Lake preview here. I'm not sure who my guest is going to be here. I got a couple of feelers out trying to get some new people in the mix here. We'll see. If not, we'll have some familiar faces. Hopefully that the lake is mellowed out here and is doing well. I didn't look at USA Bassins here, but hopefully you'll be fishing better. I know the last year, July, or was it? No, it was June 30th in July in Shelby. Yeah, it was right before the holiday. We were on Rend, and it was a pretty tough bite that day, from what I remember. Just a FYI here. In fact, I just got a tackle house order for Father's Day. I had a gift card. I was restocking up on some various things, and then I saw in my mailbox today. I guess I had missed it maybe from last week. They got a bunch of bargain bins going on, $20 bins, $10 bins. I found some $40 JDM kind of glide baits, swim baits, wake baits, like half price in there, and a couple of things here and there. Um, some of the $5 bin is just $1 or $2 off, but hey, you know what? Pays for shipping, pays for tax here. And then there was another coupon code. You can't use it on the bargain bin items, but I got another coupon in the email today here. I was kind of looking ahead here. I was trying to do a little stock up for Kentucky Lake and Rend Lake coming up. Got myself. I've used traditional Carolina rigs here. I actually bought a few tungsten Carolina weights here. They say you can feel better. Well, you can feel better if you don't lose them and get snagged because they're expensive. But I figure, for a tournament, it's maybe worth a few extra bucks. Hey James, what kind of weight you throw on your Carolina rigs? I know you throw pretty heavy ones. Kim was talking half ounce. I had some half ouncers before, and they're okay for like a regular lake, but river current or Kentucky Lake deeper and or current here. I got some 3/4 ounce weights. I was thinking one might be a little kind of too heavy, but combined with having a longer rod, wanting to get more out of the cast here, 3/4 to one. Yeah, I just got a few 3/4s. I figured that was pretty good. What what makes you kind of change from 3/4 to one? What drives you there? Okay, not hearing from Matt. Current and depth, yeah. Yep, totally what I was thinking. Totally what I was thinking. Yeah, last year, was it last year? Uh, Last year were we down at Paducah on the Tennessee, or was that the year before? No, that was last year. Um, yeah, they were dumping water out of the Kentucky Dam here, and um, we were down there in the Tennessee, down from Paducah here. Boy, that current was coming really strong. Um, I had to double up on some weights. I didn't have a heavy enough weight. It was really ripping if you were close to the main channel there, which we happened to be fishing because, of course, that's where the summer fish, were. Oh, yeah, it seems to be a little bit of a light crowd too here. I bet a lot of people are on holiday, leaving for holiday. I know I work today. I'm just working tomorrow. I'm taking Wednesday and Thursday off. I talked to Eric. I know he's doing that too. Maybe a lot of people are doing that here. Yeah, if I don't hear from, I just sent Matt another text here. Maybe something got crossed in the ethers here. Um, Maybe we'll just call it early night if we can't hear from him soon here. You guys got something you really want to hit or talk about? Anything ad hoc you guys want to talk about today? Sorry about the confusion here. Yeah, didn't no, not hearing back from him yet. Well, at least he got Friday off. Yeah, you got a tournament this weekend, James. Just take it easy with the family. Good for you. Yeah, me neither. It'll just be little pleasure fishing with my son-in-law and grandkids and stuff like that. All right, four people. Who else is on? Just want to say hi. How you doing? You had a great boater for that one? Which one? Oh, there's a new feature here. Let's see how this works. Show comments on stage. Beta. Oh, that's a paid for feature. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be crazy when the pleasure boaters get out there. In fact, it's probably going to be crazy by about 11. Get your practice in early. Get on it. Yeah, daylight and get off early. Good plan, especially during the heat of the summer here. It's going to be pretty toasty out there this weekend too, I hear. You know, I did look at the forecast by us. Are you going to get rains down there, James? Let's see here. No, kind of central Illinois is the 4th is going to be 90 degrees and sunny. Saturday is going to be 91 and sunny. Sunday, 35% chance of rain and 90. Monday, 50% chance of rain and 91. Tuesday, 87 and 60% chance. I got soaked Saturday. Yeah. But it probably felt good because it's so darn hot, huh? Oh, no, I got a low battery on the phone. Okay. All right, we got Jim and Eric. Who else we got online there? You want to say hey? Just say hey to everybody. Hey, Jim or Eric, any of you guys wanna pop online and talk fishing for a little bit, or do you guys just want to call it a night? I'll leave it to you. I'm always willing to talk. I think we're going to have to rebook Matt here. Something's gone wrong. Oh, the 30-mile-an-hour winds. Oh yeah, it gets rough and nasty out there. All right, Jim, I'll send you a link. Oh, my page says 8. Oh, Dustin just told me my page said 8:30. I didn't mean to say that. Oh, crap. Oh, man. Huh. I always do 7:30. Oh, man. Oh, you mean my YouTube? Oh, man. Let me check that out. Live coangling masterclass. Descriptions. Oh, in the description I fumble fingered. Oh man, that sucks. Oh, maybe it was a time zone thing. Shoot, in the Dustin in the description. When I go to my YouTube page now, it's live. It's not showing a time, and I can't see the details. Oh, maybe edit in advance. Let's see here. No, it doesn't say a time here where I can see this here. Yeah, it won't let me in to even see it here, I guess, because I'm probably live on StreamYard here. Oh, I goofed up here. Okay, what's your go-to bait on Rend? Rend's kind of, for the most part, traditional power fishing. So crankbaits, jigs, spinner baits, worms, Texas rig plastics. Pretty traditional, shallow, usually pretty dirty, pretty hot, especially in July. Yeah, Dustin's telling me I blew it and I put it. Did you guys see it said 8:32, not 7:30? I goofed up and I messed up. I messed up. I wonder if Matt's going to think he's going to join at 8:30 and was planning for that. Oh, I hope I didn't screw up. Well, I'm only human. I tell you what, I got a good excuse though. Eric and I were fishing all day on Sunday, and we caught so many fish. I was so tired, I wasn't seeing straight. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I wonder if I can get another page up and see it this way. Okay, I don't see a time in a description on the YouTube thing. Loading my Gmail up and then we'll be ready. Okay, Jim. Cool. I'll be waiting for you. I'm trying to figure out what I maybe did wrong here. Be right with you, folks. Jim will be with us in a minute. Okay, my StreamYard says 7:30 p.m. Unless somehow that did the wrong time zone. Today it's 7:30 p.m. CDT. No, StreamYard's got it right. Yeah. Oh, here's Jim. All right, hey Jim, thanks for always waiting in the wings as the ultimate backup. Being a boater, you got to know you need a backup on everything, right?
Yeah, Yeah.
Stuff breaks all the time.
Sometimes
Like
5 or
computers.
6 backups.
Yeah. What's your most horrific loss of equipment or backup story on a boat? Total curveball.
What was that again?
What's your most horrific story about, when something was broke on the boat or you had multiple failures, just a nightmare boating experience where backups either helped or didn't help because you didn't have them.
Matter of fact, Saturday, uh, I was in such a big hurry to get another bait on the hook that a fish had stripped off,
Oh,
and
geez.
raised a center rod lock. Was in there digging around and went to slam my back down so I could jump back up on the front, and the rod had scooted over, and I broke it.
I've done that once too. Same thing. Same
And
thing.
then found a really good school of fish. I mean, as Jacob Wheeler and Jake Lawrence would say, a sneaky spot,
Mm-hmm.
and caught 2 short fish, caught the keeper, and was up there. And here comes a boat barreling right through on top of where I was casting.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And then 5 minutes later, it started raining. I thought, and then it only lasted about 5 minutes. So I went looking to see where they might have went, and I seen a few more fish up on top. Threw in there, and I turned around, and that storm was on top of me. I mean, I was still 3 miles from the boat ramp. I was fishing a USA Bassin, but I was more out there just kind of looking to see if I could find the schools more than anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I got points for me and the new guy that's fishing to hopefully, because Danville started this Sunday, and that's why I was saying I could fish Saturday and Sunday just about every weekend. Because
Oh, yeah. What do you
the
mean by
USA
Danville?
Bassin,
A Danville USA Bassin or in
it's a
Danville, Illinois?
Danville's a USA Bassin, and they
On
fish on
Lake
Sunday.
Decatur?
Huh?
On Lake Decatur, where are they fishing?
No, Kentucky Lake out of Danville Ramp.
Oh, Danville, Kentucky.
Yeah,
Not
Danville.
yeah.
Yeah, Danville on Kentucky Lake. They fish on Sundays. That way they can also fish wherever they want on Saturday. Or if there's an open, they don't, contradict with, any other tournaments. So
Yeah.
all their tournaments is always on Sunday. So I could have fished C&O Barkley on Saturday, but this was the last Paris Landing USA Bassin on Saturday. So it's like, I'm going to go be over there anyways. I might as well stick $60 in just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. In case you hit them. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because I did that one time before, went out there and pre-fished while there was a USA Bassin went on, and I had enough weight to win it. And it's like, man, I should have got into it.
Oh, don't you hate that?
Yeah.
The one time you don't pull the pin.
Yeah. But I'm learning more and more. They're on Kentucky Lake. It's being a bear. I mean, especially trying to find where fish might be that is not a community hole, because I already know where 3 or 4 that I usually fish, but I have to be one of the first ones there, because if not, there'll be 15 boats come through there later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the last Toyota I was down there, the guy's talking about, well, I cut them off of the community hole right out there from Paris, everyone knows about. And I saw some people go, well, I don't know about it. What's he talking about? You know about that spot? Community hole among the people who are really in the know, right?
Yeah. And if you fish a place long enough, when you go by, you start seeing where everybody, keeps on stopping. I mean, you can see that on Wren. If you'd be in one cove, and then you can see where the hot spots are, because that's where the boats come in. They fish a little stretch and then they leave, and 5 minutes later, here comes another boat.
Yep.
Then they leave, and another 10 minutes later, here comes another boat. So
yeah, or you just can't get on it because by the time you look around, it's empty. There's already somebody headed for it, or people almost yelling at each other. Hey, I was fishing, gonna fish it. Yeah,
yeah.
Whole buzzards.
yeah.
So looking at using your electronics to find those schools. Yeah, I mean, more and more. That's a finer part of the sport now with the advancements in electronics and with the tougher fishing conditions for a multitude of reasons. Less fish, different patterns, more people fishing, more tournaments, more pressure, and it's tough to get good with those electronics.
The places that I've actually fished that are ledges, accidentally on them. I mean, we seen it on the map, and one's got a road bed going across the top of it, and depending on the water depth, like right now, it's got 8 foot on top. It's got an old road bed, an old rock road bed on top of it, and then it's got shell on top of in there too. So me and Micah was happened to be fishing, was like, well, when they're not on the points, he says, let's go over there and fish that old road bed. Well, the boat was sitting in 20 feet of water, and we was casting, up there, so we was dragging most of the top before the drop off, before the actual ledge.
Yeah.
But we got fish, and it's always been my go-to spot. Every time I fish, I go there first because it's always good for 1 or 2 fish, and it could be good for 26 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Micah's best we done off of that in a 50-yard stretch was 24, almost 25 pounds.
That's a big haul.
But it helps when the first fish you catch is a 7.5.
You ain't talking Shelbyville now.
No.
And I don't think you're talking Rend either.
No, it's on Kentucky Lake, but
yeah.
But I've been trying to get a hold of these. Well, I kind of knew the electronics before, but when you get out of the, haven't done it for 5 years and then you come back, then everything is newer, brighter, better. And it's a new learning curve to me. And I'm just now finally getting to do where I can identify stuff with my side scan and down scan. And that forward-facing sonar, I mean, I can see stuff out there, but I couldn't tell you if it was bass or whatever. I don't even use it when I'm fishing ledges besides to see if there's any stumps or any brush pile that I might, see.
Right. Yeah, a lot of fine-tuning in that down scan and side scan. And, when you're running down the lake, I mean, I don't have a high-speed sensor, so my down scan, side scan is only good to about 7 miles an hour. But I was just reading an article from the technological angler, the guy from Hummingbird. He does a lot of stuff up in Minneapolis and, that area, Minnesota, Wisconsin. But you can see the images better at about 1.5 miles an hour as opposed to 7. So, it's almost like you're trying to scan an area. You can go 5 or 6, but if you see something interesting, you got to slow down or turn around and bring it down and really look at that display.
Yeah, when I'm scanning, and I've learned, since I've only got one unit at the console, I usually have my map down or 2D, and then my side scan.
Yeah.
But I'm only going about anywhere between 2 to 4 mile an hour.
Yeah.
And it all
That's
depends
typically
on
where
whether
I
the wind's
cruise.
pushing me. If the wind's pushing me, or if the current is, if I'm going with the current, is usually the upper speed. But if I really want to see something I like, I turn around and go the opposite direction. That way I can kind of slow down and my eyes ain't as good as they used to be, so I got to really get up on that 12 inch to
Yeah.
see. But
Yeah, me too. In fact, I had to pull these out the other day. I hate pulling these out.
yeah, because I'm supposed to wear bifocals, but the only reason why I need the bifocals is because my eyes are good. I can read without my glasses, but when I put them on for my to see far away, I can't see close up. So that's the reason why usually when I'm scanning, I take my glasses off and I'm sitting there like this. And then hopefully I won't have to see far ahead when I'm looking up ahead because I can't see, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I was I was contemplating on whether to fish the LBL or go up and pre-fish Wren.
Oh, like Eric was asking. Yeah,
Yeah,
we were talking about that too.
and it was like it doesn't matter whether I go up there and pre-fish or not. I end up usually junk fishing anyway, so because I've never gotten on a pattern, really a good pattern. Now I might be able to find, you know, find something that I know I could probably go catch a couple fish with, but something to where I feel comfortable enough to go and catch five that's going to win. I haven't felt that. Now on Shelbyville, I felt that, but it just them
Yeah.
fish moved and I could not find them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, you got big bass at Shelbyville last time.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I got my first piece of hardware.
Oh, that's your first piece of hardware. Oh, yeah.
Well,
My boater was
from
waiting for his, but he was in fifth until there was three boaters left, and one guy sneaked him out by an ounce.
yeah, that's my
Congratulations.
thank you. That was first with the BFL MLF. Um, of course, back in the day, fishing the club tournaments and some of the opens, I've got hardware, but that's the first recently. So, and USA Bassing, unless depending on who's the tournament director, they don't give hardware out. But
That was Brad. I wonder why he wasn't on. He was texting here.
mm,
So, how'd you catch that big boy? If you mind talking about it, and how did it feel? Do you know
oh,
right away?
he well, it was one of them that he really. I mean, that's the first bite that I've had in a really long time that he just. I mean, he wanted it. I mean, he smacked it. I set the hook and immediately
You
told
knew.
Kim, I said, "It's a good one."
Had
And then he wouldn't come
that
up.
catfished out or that muskie had that head shake. You kind of know right away.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
big bass and a bigger catfish, they just start pulling both of them like all but you, right?
And that's what he did. And when I was kind of like, oh, wait a minute, he's not wanting to come up. And where I was
Mm-hmm.
fishing, there could have been some cats in there.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it's come up, and when he jumped about 7 feet from the boat, Kim goes, "Holy smokes!"
I don't know if I can net that one and pull it in. It's too big.
And I finally got it up there, and she netted it, and she goes, "That's six. That's over six because her husband had just got one on Thursday that weighed like 6 1/4, you know." And she goes, "And it's bigger than that." And I said, "Yeah, I'm not sure." I said, "That's close to six." And I put it on my scales, and it said 595. And I was like, "Well, my scales could be a little bit off." So I was like, "It's a good fish."
Oh yeah.
I said, "But I'm just not sure if it's going to be big enough to get big bass because there's been too many, 6 pounders between the USA Bass and that over in Shelbyville." And it was like, but I was really wanting them 2 or 3 others to come in there. But my spots where I'd had, they wasn't big schools, but I'd had like 4 or 5 bass that was hanging around off on the end of the points and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
yes, they're going to be somewhere around that point come Saturday morning. We're going to be good.
Yeah.
And we pulled up to that first one and worked it really good, and then worked around where it comes up towards the bank, and she caught hers and probably a foot of water.
Wow.
And it's
Wow.
like, okay, so they're up on top. So we fished the top, nothing. Went to the next point, and I caught my first keeper on top of the point in about 2 foot of water. So we fished the top of that, and then I went deep, and finally I said, well, there's another point, but I've never been able to get on it because there's always boat there. And we
Yep.
pulled up there, and
Yep.
and I was actually where you've seen this, there's a point. Matter of fact, there was a boat on there when you went by.
Mm-hmm.
I went up there and I said, hey, are you fishing the point or are you fishing the whole thing? He says, well, we've been fishing the whole point, but we're going to stay out here. And I said, well, can I go in and fish closer to the bank? And he goes, yeah, go ahead. Because on that point, and about halfway, there's a little saddle.
Mm-hmm.
It comes up, it goes from about 5 feet and then goes down to about 7 in between the bank and where he was at. So I went up there, fished there to the bank, and nothing. And that's like, well, let's go over there to that point. There ain't nobody there. And as we was pulling up, there was another boat that was wanting to come up there, but he turned, and
he was sniffing that big boy out too.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, because I caught him on my favorite bait that I like to throw on the Carolina rig, and that's that Mahn's worm.
Yeah.
Jelly worm. And man, when he hit, I mean, he wanted it. And I knew that if it wasn't a catfish, it was a good one.
Oh, so, yeah.
It worked out. But just trying to keep up with them fish. I don't know where everybody caught them. I heard them, people say they had to change up and went shallow. So I don't know.
Yeah, my guy was scope and cover. Some, not really shallow, but some medium, some deep, some, maybe a little shallow here and there. I mean, you're out on a point. There's some stuff out there. You throw up a couple times here and there, but yeah, we started out on a deep area. He goes, I can't believe no one's there. We're going to stop there, and I'm like, people used to always be here, but I haven't seen people there for a couple of years. It's kind of weird how patterns move like that. And then there's some spots, like you say, that during a tournament at Shelbyville, there's always someone on them. And sometimes people just get up there, and there's a couple spots I'm like, that will be busy all day, because I see people, they go there and they will spend the first 4 hours there.
When we was fishing where you seen us on that point over there, once that first boat finally left, I bet there was probably 9 other boats that came in there and stopped on that and fished that while we were still fishing around that point.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So what'd you land up with there, and what place did you get?
22nd, I think.
How many fish you have for how many pounds?
2. I had 2 for almost 8 pounds, I think. 7 something.
Yeah. I couldn't pick up any other ones. Yeah, it was tough on a bunch of people. A bunch of people grouped up in that 10, 11, a bunch of people there where, my guy had, he had like a 4-pounder, like a 3-pounder, and a bunch of 2-pounders, really, kind of smaller end of the mix, right?
Yeah. I felt really good. I told Kim, I said, I'm going to be throwing a Carolina rig. Hey, Eric.
What's going
Hey,
on?
sorry, I didn't see you there. You didn't come on right away. I thought you were maybe not making a call here, and I just looked down and you're there.
I was messing with my
Welcome to the
AirPods here.
show.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations, Brad. Brad was down at Old Hickory. He just jumped into the heck of it. He's making the worldwide circle tour of getting that fourth tournament gift bag, swag bag in every tournament possible. He's going to be what are you going to be selling them on eBay out of the back of your truck at the next BFL? Surplus Berkeley gear. Congratulations, 10th place.
I think what he's doing is he's gathering up all them spinning reels for the fish and wren.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great news, Brad. Brad the hammer here. Okay, and I imagine, was it the same stuff in the gift bag? We're all going to get the same stuff, basically, huh? Yeah, that's another reason why I jumped in LBL too.
That's the only reason why I did, because if I knew I was going to be fishing as many as I had, I'd have weighed in them 1 or 2 fish that I had on the first one I fished, which would have been the second, and then I fished the third, thinking.
Oh, you didn't even. You said you didn't even weigh in. Oh, yeah, you should have.
Because when I did the first one, a guy got a hold of me and says, "Hey, I really like to have a boater to link because I really want to fish it." Okay, so I linked up, fished it. And I thought, well, if I get, maybe I'll get lucky and find the fish and be on them. Well, that's when my coangler caught his 3, and I should have had 5, and probably would have had close to that 14 pounds and that 5 fish. But I just couldn't keep fish hooked unless he was small on a Carolina rig that day. But my boater caught 3 and got a check. So, and then this last one I fished, I was like, oh, I can find some fish on them ledges. I can probably come up with 3 fish. And again, I couldn't keep them buttoned. And I was really worried on Shelbyville going in there, because I knew that's what I was going to be throwing was a Carolina rig. And I was like, man, I hope I keep them buttoned on there, because I was having a hard time. I don't know why, because I'm still using the same hooks, everything. But here lately, everything that it's bit, I've stuck.
Yeah, probably maybe getting a little more aggressive now than they were earlier in the year, I bet, too.
Good job, Brad.
Hey, Eric, what'd you do this weekend?
Fished.
Okay, let's have a contest. How many hours did you fish this weekend, Eric?
Probably 16, 8 a day.
James, how many hours did you fish this weekend?
I only fished 8. I took Sunday off. Now, this week could be a different story.
I think it's time for Brad to go boater.
Probably... I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I think it's time for Brad to go boater.
I think so, too. I'd like to draw him.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially a fifth on Dell. Man.
Yeah. Well, I think he said he had a guy fishing shallower. Either I talked to him or was on the show a few weeks ago. So, Eric, what'd you do on Saturday? Where'd you fish on Saturday?
Saturday we were at Kincaid, did USA Bassin, the Kincaid, and they limited. They did a 3 fish limit, which, whatever. I guess they thought it was going to be hot. It really didn't get that hot till we were done and gone. They got us out of there at 1:00. But I think we had 3 for $7.90 something. And the winners had 15. It was like 15, 12, 11, 10. And everybody was kind of stacked up 8, 8-9 pounds.
How many boats?
So 25.
25.
Mm-hmm.
You just hop in that one? Or are you fishing that one this year?
No, we just hopped in it. I've got a buddy that he was gonna fish with his wife and some USA Bassins, and then with work she couldn't do it, and they'd already got their membership. So we fished together a little bit before, so we just kind of hooked up and went down there and did that one. He messaged me about doing Ren on the 12th, which will be the week before we're there. So it may be an opportunity to pre-fish it, and we'll see.
Yeah, get a little time in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ren is Ren. At first, it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty consistent in the summer. At least, someone was asking earlier, about what bait's on Ren, and it's kind of traditional shallow water summer power bait.
Yeah,
I think
can be.
can be. That's what they call it, fishing, not catching.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do on Sunday, Eric?
So I'm gonna tell. We went to Baldwin, and I had to eat crow for a few minutes.
What do you mean?
So I've taken people there before, and Jeff did what everybody does, and at this time of year he had topwater tied on, and I told him, I was like, you can throw it, but I'm like, I've never caught anything in here on topwater. Like, for whatever reason, we've thrown it and they won't hit it. And so we caught a few fish early, and he stuck to that buzzbait for a little bit and winded up catching a couple. So I tied it on. I threw it for a few minutes, but I have no confidence there. So I put it back down and went back to my worm. And we shot across the lake to this other bank and passed a couple guys. And there's older gentlemen, and the one guy in the front says they had caught a couple, and he goes, yeah, he even caught one on a buzzbait, talking about his guy in the back. And I was like, yeah, so did he. And I was like, but I've never caught a fish in here on topwater. And the guy in the front of the boat said the same thing. He goes, yeah, me either. I've never caught one on topwater in here. So,
and I just lost one on the buzzbait that they saw coming up.
Missed one.
He whacked it and didn't have it.
Yeah, it was funny. So then we got on this back bank, and it was just something was right about it. It was raining a little bit. It was cloudy. There was just a little ripple on the water, like it just looked like topwater. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to throw it again. We didn't go very far, did we? And all of a sudden, it was like 3.5 pounder. Went a little further, another 3.5 pounder, and then it was just on.
It just lights on.
Then you just gotta watch the video for the rest of it.
Yeah,
I can't tell you what else happened that day.
This video, I'm gonna have to cut 8 hours down to 4, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna get all the fishing events in.
Yeah, you won't get all the catches on there.
And then I'm like, okay, he's throwing a buzzbait in front of me. I'm like, whatever top water do I have? I just have my coangler bag that I packed for Shelbyville. I just threw it in the truck after last week here. And I'm like, oh, I've got this, pencil popper. Okay.
Yeah, that was amazing. I really hope you got some of those blow-ups on video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were going airborne after it. Like, they were coming out of the water and hitting it, and it was neat. And then I was telling him a story of a guy that was over there one time, and he passed us. We were fishing on the bank, and he passed us, and he said he was looking for the white bass. And he goes, he was in a bait store somewhere, and they told him, oh, just go out there and watch for him to start blowing up on top, and then go over there and catch him. And we told him, we're like, well, I mean, good luck, because we've never seen him do that here. But they're bigger there. They're big ones. So I told Jeff that I'm like, I've never seen the white bass do that. And I kept looking for him on live scope, and I don't know if he got any of it, but I had a little minnow on, and I kept throwing at stuff trying to catch one. And I caught the Baldwin Lake gamut. I had catfish, crappie, drum, largemouth, like everything.
And his family could have eaten catfish for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they were good ones.
They're really clean channel cats, really clean. I was saying good because they're not eating crap off the bottom. There's so much shad here. They're eating shad. They're eating caviar.
Yeah, the shad are just ridiculous. And then for whatever the was reason that day, the bluegill were like out of control on a couple of the banks, which was weird. We didn't catch a lot of bass when we ran into that. Thinking
Yeah.
about it, you know what I mean? This was kind of weird, but
I would see that on the side scan. I'd be like, oh man, there's a huge bluegill bed over there.
yeah.
But I think they were done spawning and maybe went out deep because,
hmm
I mean, they were nibbling on us a lot, but it wasn't like, there was tons of them.
Yeah, we went through that pack of worms. It was
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so we got up to this point and we were kind of going down. I just happened to glance over towards the power plant where the intake is, where they suck the water in, and I see something blowing up on top, and I was like, "Oh, it must be it's some catfish or the carp." Because when we were coming down the one bank, there was carp, kept jumping everywhere.
Yeah.
And I kept looking, and then all of a sudden, a big area started boiling. I told Jeff, hold on. And I get the trolling motor on high real quick. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, just watch this way. And we got out there. I mean, we drove almost into the middle of them, blowing up around us. I hope he should have it on.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be neat.
It's, I didn't double check, but the video was running the whole day and I was looking right at him. I mean, there was like 5 or 6 pods of like at least a dozen just wailing on the top water on shad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we sat out there for probably half hour, 20 minutes and caught them. And then went back to the bank and started catching them again. It had a highlight reel at the end of the day. So
oh yeah.
Sounds like an extremely good day.
It was pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Day that you'd like to have in a tournament.
Oh my God! Oh my God! No one's going to believe this is Illinois. That's the first thing. I bet we could call it Mystery Lake in Illinois and win lots of money on bets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our best 5 probably would have went between 17 and 18 pounds, I would think.
But the quantity was just unreal.
Oh yeah, it was the 2.5 pounders in there, unlimited almost, and they pull because I guess they got that current and it's warm and. Them fish pull. Like the littler ones pull harder than the big ones sometimes. Mm. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it's a power plant deal. So they got the warm water all year long. So they can live and grow and eat all year long.
Mm-hmm. And they do. You'll see. I mean, them fish are healthy. Like we were joking about it. The biggest one, looking at that picture though, its belly was kind of sucked in, but I guess it probably recently spawned. But
yeah.
But I told him.
Oh yes, James. I was going to ask you about your big guy. Any signs of just post spawn on that one or not, or no, clean?
He almost looked like he hadn't spawned yet, but it had. But I mean, but he'd been eating.
He was gorging himself.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because when I got him up, I held it up and went, holy smokes, look at that belly. And how thick he was, because I was really expecting them to be kind of not that solid. I was kind of figuring him, be, belly'd be a little bit skinny, but no. Which really surprised me. So yeah. But
did you don't have to reveal anything because I know. So last year I saw you drew Jeff there, and I saw you on the one point that's got like the 3 points that come out.
No, that's not where I caught it.
Okay, I did see you that day catch a keeper on that. There was like 5 boats right there.
Yes,
we were back up in that other pocket a little further on that point, but I seen you catch the one. We saw her net it and everything.
Yeah,
but I was wondering if that was the big one. No, but it wasn't.
No. Yeah. The big one came out there right before you go right across from point 3.
I can tell you the that caught the 610 caught his shallow. on a lay down.
Really?
You know, and that's the funny thing, because where you was talking about on that one, there's one bank on one of them points. When you get back here, you're in 20 foot of water and probably ain't 10 feet from the bank. And there's like 7 or 8 good trees that come down in that. And I almost went back there. It was like, no, because the fish that I'd seen and scanned and knew that they was bass were out on the points. And that's the fish that I just had it in my mind. That's the fish that I'm going after. I'm going to fish it kind of like Kentucky Lake. I seen them. I know they're around there. I just got to entice them to bite. And that messed me up from going back there, because I almost bet you could have went back there and caught some off of them trees.
Yeah, I know of multiple people that's what they caught them off of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brad was talking about that too. And my pre-fishing video, which I need to finish up tonight, or it's going to be another week delayed here. I started out, I didn't have a real early start, but I was scanning the points like you, James, at first here. And I saw, okay, everything's moved out here. There's lots of bait. I mean, there was, cats, bass, there's everything, out there in creek channels and points. And I threw at them for a while and nothing. And I came in, and you'll see I had my black buzz bait out, my crankbait out, and on laydowns or rock, I was catching, a bunch of smaller ones, keepers, non-keepers, some keepers, 3-pounder. I just couldn't get out to work deep. Now, my live scope was broken. I had 360s, it's not, it's not live, but you see structure. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying, I think I would have been a little bit more effective with the scope, being able to really line up on the stump and the brush out, out on the edges and stuff, like you're saying.
And with me only getting out on Shelbyville that Friday before, and I hate trying to see what anything is and try to catch a fish on Friday when I'm fishing on Saturday.
Yeah.
And that was probably another one of my mistakes, because I was up there early enough on Thursday. If I'd have been on the water on Thursday, I'd have probably went back there and fished at least one of them laydowns just to see that. But on Friday, I was like, nah, I'll end up. And after I'd already fished that and got out there, I seen a couple of boats run in there. But I didn't keep that good of an eye on there, whether they caught any off of them. But I would say they probably did, because usually with that deep of water next to it and that close, it's too easy for them to move up and back down.
Oh, they love those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just never did go up there, and I should have while we was there first thing that morning.
Do you think Shelbyville fish is similar to Wren when it's sunny? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yes and no. Because even with it sunny, you can still catch them out deep. And I've never caught anything over 3 foot in Wren. Of course, the lake's only 8, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, what does deep mean in Wren? 9 feet?
4.5.
and that's kind of funny, because a guy that looked at my buddy's boat several years back, he crappie fishes on Wren, and he knows Wren. And he told Larry, he goes, when you think you're shallow enough, go shallower.
Yeah.
He says, because you can't get too shallow on Wren for bass.
Problem is, there's so much shallow water.
Yes.
Like, how do you narrow that down? Yeah, I think you just have to find the right. We'll just tell them. You just have to find the right laydowns. Like, they go for specific trees. If you see a bank with 5 or 10 laydowns, there's going to be one tree that's different, and they're like, that's the tree. You can almost skip the rest of those trees. Is what I have personally found.
Yeah. And I love fishing structure. I mean, the two things I love most is either flipping or dragging that Carolina rig. But on Wren, I've never drug a Carolina on Wren except for one time. And down there towards Dan, there's a big island that's out there. And it's got stumps, it's got lay downs, and it's got the deeper water around there. And I thought, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm going to catch him. I fished that thing for 4 hours, dragging a Carolina around it, and threw a crankbait around it, and never even got the first bite.
I've caught those white bass there before. They'll school
Yeah.
up out there, and then I see a lot of guys crappie fishing there because off of those you get out there and on those ends there's little brush piles.
Mm-hmm.
I've thrown stuff in them too, and you won't get a largemouth out there for some reason. They just don't like it.
Yeah. So every fish I've ever caught came, extremely shallow. Even that day that me and you fished, them fish
That's a steep bank though.
There was some deeper water out there, but where the fish were hitting, they was within that first couple of feet off the bank.
Yeah, for both of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
yeah, it's a shallow loving strain of bass in that lake.
Yep. So I'm gonna take my trolling motor up about 3 inches and pulled up about 3 or 4 inches to where my forward-facing sonar is completely out of the water and props underneath there, and I'm gonna go shallow. I'm either gonna do what I normally do, is either catch one or two, or I'm gonna blank like I did on the first one. So,
well, you know what you got to do? You got to pull a Keith Pochet and bring out your little jet boat or your little aluminum flat sider and go up into 6 inches of water where no one else can go. And you probably catch 25 pounds on that lake.
I'm not saying that into the near future that I may be going to aluminum boat.
Yeah. I mean, those newer aluminums are getting rave reviews. Lighter. Every time you touch a dock, it ain't $1,000 in your fiberglass.
And even the 19, 20-foot aluminum boats, even though that they're heavier than your regular John boat, they can still get around in really extreme shallow water.
Yeah.
Buddy mine, Micah, he's got a 22-foot catfish boat, and he's been up in foot of water. Just
wow. Yeah. Like one of those sea arcs.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of those now that B&R Marine took over 16 Marine and whatever. They're selling those, and I see a lot of those out now.
And I was like, how can a boat that big, that wide, that long, and that heavy still float in that shallow water? And I get in a foot and a half, and I can't get my trolling motor shallow enough, and I've got to turn around.
Yeah.
Are we taking off from the same, or are we going back to South Sandusky?
Oh, I don't even know.
I registered today and I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, look it up here.
I'm not real sure because I was looking at that because I was thinking, well,
let's see what you guys are looking at that up here. Yeah. Brad said they were catching them on laydowns and tournament day want to do something deeper. Yeah. And the same thing happens like always. We talk about it. There was a lot of people practicing on Friday. It's summertime. There's a lot of pleasure people doing all kind of fishing, and there were more boats on Shelbyville. It started looking like Lake of the Ozarks by about 10:30, 11. It was rough. There were swells. There's 3-4 foot swells by 10:30, 11, and it got worse as the day went on. I think everyone was cooped up because weather's been so bad. All the pleasure boaters haven't been able to get out. That was the first really hot weekend, and it just went crazy.
Says we're taking out a gun.
Gun again. Yeah, same.
Yeah, same place. Yeah.
That ranch junk. It's just that's like so crammed right there. There's no
Yeah.
cheap bastards.
Yeah, well,
that
maybe
pay
if
the
they
extra.
don't guarantee 100 boats or whatnot. I mean, I don't know who else is going to be at the other marina.
Yeah, but
or maybe it's because someone was telling me here that the state of Illinois wanted 10% of your proceeds if you took out of one of their ramps. So they're like, fine, we'll go take off at another one and give them, their 5% and they'll be happy.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's why
not like MLF is
it.
rolling in the dough. They're giving it all back to us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the BPT is getting all of our money.
Yeah. I think that's why they don't take out a sailboat is because of that.
Yeah.
But I just looked and I did gain 4 places. So I'm up to.
How'd you do that? Oh, you caught a fish. Never mind.
Yeah, I jumped from 28th to 24th. So if I can get a couple of keepers on Wren, and then I'm going to be ready for Kentucky Lake.
Oh yeah.
I've never fished on the north end practicing until about a week or two before the super tournament when we had it on there. I've already started, and I'm starting, just in case. But I've already started down on this end. This weekend I'll be taking off at 68.80. So I don't know. If we take out a Moores or a Kentucky Dam, either way, that's only a 30-minute ride. If the water's kind of choppy, I could be down to 68.80. So, yeah.
Are you going to do the regional?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so upset and disappointed last year, but my health with my knee and my back, it was like I couldn't even get in and out of my boat. And it was like, well, there ain't no use to traveling that far.
Yeah. Totally.
Which I kind of wished I'd have went ahead, could have made it. But then after kind of some of the stories and stuff, I'm glad I stayed home.
Yeah.
Fishing was good. It really was. The fishing was good. If you found the right
spot. Are you going to
spot.
go to the regional this year?
Huh?
Are you going to go to the regional this year?
I'm going.
Oh.
He's saying that
because we're fishing in it. Well, as consolation prize, we have 60 points, and we're in 62nd place. We're only 2 places away from making the regional.
Now, is it going to be like a normal? Because they said the top 60, but if you win, you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be 5 people. So is that?
Yeah, they really take
5. So it
60?
It's going to be up to 65 times 2, or 130 will be the max,
right?
Because there'll be 2 divisions this year.
With being in 62, if you're already in.
Yep.
Because there's been 3 winners. There's been 3 winners, so that puts you at 62.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and there'll be people that won't go. So
there'll be people that won't go.
We're going to catch one at Wren.
Yeah.
Wren owes me. So.
Uh-oh.
I don't need to cross my fingers. I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'll throw. I already told you.
I know.
3 rods.
Oh yeah.
It.
To Wren?
That's it.
Oh.
I'll tell them I'm gonna throw a top water, a jig, and some kind of moving spinnerbait or a chatterbait.
You know that when we was talking about it, said I've been looking for that one and couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put one in my boat.
They did.
Yes. And then I found another one in my boat, and it was the same color that you was throwing.
A little one like that?
A little one, just like it.
Because I've looked.
So
I haven't.
No, I have
either.
2. They're two different colors, but I got two.
Yeah, good.
I threw the one here about 3 weeks ago on Barkley. Because I've never seen a shad spawn like that. It looked like a bunch of piranhas all the way up and down the rock. And I thought, man, perfect. Did it. Nothing. Threw a crankbait around there, nothing. So I took the side scan and I went back around there and started looking. Never seen anything but shad. I've never seen and never caught a bass. But I've never seen a shad spawn go that crazy.
Yeah, last year on maybe it was the LBL second or third one. I was with what's his face? Dan, famous
Dan
name.
Moorhead,
yeah. And he went down to Barkley, and he went a ways down Barkley, and we pull into this nice cove, and we pull in, and it's just shad spawn. I'm like, oh my God, are we gonna catch him? Same thing. We did not catch a fish by that shad spawn. It was unbelievable. It was just like, how can there be that many shad here? Are the bass just full up on them already, or it was really weird?
Yeah. So, but I'll have it tied on at Ren though.
I recommend it.
Secret lure, you got to disclose after Ren. Then you brought it up on the channel. You're telling secrets. You got to disclose it after.
Okay, I'm going to be
I showed it to you. I thought it's a little whopper plopper.
I'm going to be throwing a Hank Cherry special.
He likes his jerk baits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I told Eric when we fished. I said, man, I ain't caught anything in 3 days when I was down here. And finally I went down to the dam and I thought, I'm going to do a Hank Cherry. Started with that crankbait or that jerk bait. Boom. Caught one.
Yep.
Went another little ways. Boom. Caught another one. Left and went up towards the north. Boom. Caught one about 3.5. I said, I'm done. Went back to the boat ramp, and that's what I started with on the next morning.
Yeah.
That's what I caught my keepers on.
Sweet.
And that was about this time too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, last year Run Lake was like June 30th or so, because I remember I was leaving right afterwards. It was right before the 4th of July weekend. They kind of flip-flopped the tournaments this year.
So
it'll be a little later,
Yeah.
The sky's got
20 days later. Yeah, should be the same. Yeah, I've never caught anything down by the dam.
Yeah, there ain't nothing
at Rend.
There's no fish down there. But I am going to do something this year when I go there that I normally do, but I haven't done. And I'm going to fish that dam just like I used to fish the causeway on Matt Tinsman, because it's kind of the same way, because it's kind of slants out from the bank and then drops off. Taking a jig and go down through there. I might catch catfish, but if there's, after going through there with that jerkbait, come back here with that jig. It's more of a swim and hop instead of just letting it fall all the way down the bottom. But
yeah,
I've never done that there. I don't know if it'll do any good. I've never seen anybody fish it like that. So, but I'm going to be junk fishing 101 again. That's what Run Lake seems to be what it's famous for.
Yep, it is.
Yep.
But I told myself my goal this year was to be in the top 10 in the points at the end of the year. And then
should have weighed those fish in. That would have been a big one.
If could have weighed a fish on that first one,
oh God,
I'd have been on track.
Yep. Yeah, me too.
But we'll see. Ren will be Ren. At least
Hey,
it'll be warm.
James, did you see I finally made it down to Lake Sarah?
I
Popped the
did
video
see
out
that,
on
and
that. I didn't do too well.
I did, and I watched the video. Now that's another lake that you can catch in largemouth schooling on. Now, I used to back in the day. They'll be out there 20 or 30 feet off a point, and you'd see them busted in the summertime. Ren, what I could see from your video, it doesn't have the moss on top like it used to.
I didn't see any moss or mats at Sarah, but there was grass and up to about 5 feet, 6 feet, in a couple areas where the water was a little cleaner.
Yeah, that west end, when you put in at that ramp,
Right?
you would turn right.
Yep. That's where it was. It was up and to the right. Yep.
All that on both sides used to be nothing but moss mats.
Yeah.
And you get about 3/4 of the way down in towards where it ends, there's an island out there. And
On
it
the
would
main
have
lake
grass.
or in that finger you're talking?
In that finger, if you would turn right and keep on going
Yeah.
straight,
Yep.
about 3/4 of the way back in the middle of it, there's a big hump.
Mm-hmm.
Now that hump had grass on it. Now it never reached the top of the water, but you could take a Carolina rig with a 3-foot leader, cast out there and let that be through that grass and catch them, or hop a worm in there and catch them. But that was back in the day. Who knows what it is now, because everything's changed. There probably ain't as much laydowns in that used to be. And I noticed that the grass mats wasn't in there like they used to be, because that's, if you wanted to throw, of course, top water back then, it was either throw a Texas rig weightless worm on top, or you threw the Moss Boss.
The Moss Boss? Okay, I don't know what that is. What is the Moss Boss? Or was it?
You seen the old Johnson, almost like a spoon that's
Oh,
rounded
yeah,
up? The
and with
Moss
one
Boss
hook in
was
it.
like that, had one
Yeah.
hook, but it was made out of plastic. So
Yeah.
when you threw it, it was weighted enough to where it landed. But once you pulled it off that, you do it, it'd sit there and sink,
Yeah.
and it'd do this right there on the edge
Yeah.
of that grass. So if they followed it out, once you hit the end of that moss, you stopped it and watch that float down, and they would boom, or they'd blow the top of it, up through the moss. But yeah, the old Moss Boss, that was the first really true, kind of like a frog or, any really top water because you had chuggers that had treble hooks. You had the jitterbug that had the treble hook. So you couldn't fish none of that back then.
Yeah. What about frogs?
There wasn't no frogs.
Wow.
Back in the
come
80s.
about?
Back in the 80s, there wasn't no frogs.
Wow. I just kind of assumed it had been around here for a long time.
Because the first plastic that was like that's kind of like a frog that came out, was actually a mouse.
A mouse, yeah. I bet.
They called it a rat.
Oh, I remember someone saying that once.
Yeah, it was a rat. They called it a rat. Had the skirt coming off the back. It had the 2 hooks that come up and across the back, but it looked just like a mouse or a rat with the hook going through the nose, just like a frog.
Right.
And then later the frog came out.
Wow. I have to look.
It's really OG.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of my best one that I used to love to throw on there, they don't even make anymore. And it was made by Rebel, and it was a popar, but it was a solid rubber, and it had the double hook that came out and went hooked on the top, right over just like a mouse does, and it had a skirt on there, and it was completely rub. I mean, it was a solid rubber. So when you threw it out there, you could actually work across that moss, and then once you hit it, then you just sit there and pop it. Or if you had grass that grew all the way up to where it just barely broke the top, you could throw that popar in there and pop it through the weeds, which you can with the mouse now because they got a mouse popar. That's just, the popping frog, except for it was a popar that was round, and was probably about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches long, maybe.
Right. I
had one of them for years. A buddy of mine that passed away here a few years ago, I was talking to his wife, and she told me that she still had all of his fishing equipment down in there in the basement, that when I came back up, I could take it all. So I'm hoping that he still had a couple of them in there.
Yeah. Or are you going to use them, or are you going to put them up in a cabinet?
Oh, I'll put one up in the cabinet, but I gotta throw that one, because especially around, any kind of the, of course on Barkley and Kentucky Lake, you don't have the grass. You have that kind of we call them yellow flowers, because they'll come off the bank about, 7 or 8 feet. And that's perfect because they won't get hung up, and you throw it in there and work it through where it's sparse. I'm not a big frog. I don't, because I don't get around enough, and I'm not a good enough skipper to skip them underneath, the trees and stuff. I've got several. I just haven't got anything on it. I'm more of a Zara spook.
Yep. Oh yeah. Or like Dustin was just reminding me, I saw it Bass Pro the other week. They got these zoo dogs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like, it's like a weedless spook.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have it with me. It's sitting in my boat, doing no good when I'm out fishing and maybe need it. Yeah, Lake Sarah, there was like seawalls everywhere. Like you said, there was riprap in some spots. I didn't go all the way on the north side. Was it shallow? Because I didn't see anyone up there. But 85% of the people were fishing docks. It was like docks.
And if you would come out from the boat ramp and make a right, there at the very end of it, like you're going towards the dam, that last cove on the left, there's another ramp back there. It used to be.
I saw it on the map. Yeah, way down there by the dam. Yeah. I didn't see it, but I saw it on the map.
But 90% of the docks are on that south side, or the north side, of that lake.
Yeah.
In them coves. And there's a lot of docks.
There was a lot of them, and most people were there, some people out, by some riprap here or there. And then I didn't find many real points. It's just river channel and, not much shallow here and there, right?
I know that when you go towards the dam, there's on the right-hand side, there was a couple of long points that came out.
I think they're washed down.
And they used to be pretty good. But like I said,
there's a little cove down there I hit. That's where I caught one, and it had some better laydowns, and it had a little point within the little cove where there was a laydown on, and I thought it was going to be fantastic, but it was just full of crappie.
It's not all the way down by the dam, but when you're headed towards the dam on that south bank, where you said it was kind of shallow over there. Now, there is some main lake points that do come out. Now, how good they are now, I don't know.
Everything seemed to be just boom into the channel.
Yeah. Me and Buddy keeps on saying, man, we wanted to go down there and fish Sarah just one time. But up until a few years ago, there was no daily, no weekend. You had to buy the whole season.
Oh, yeah. It was $25 for 3 days or $75 for the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of places are doing stuff like that now.
Yeah, and before it was you bought the season, and whether you fished it
You
one
had,
day or
yep,
the all year. And
yep,
Matt Toon used to be that way, but it wasn't really that bad. It was like $40 for the year.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Inflation, baby.
yeah, uh, and I've heard good things about Matt Toon because it was a good lake, and then it kind of went down. But I guess I talked to Pat. He doesn't. He used to run the Wednesday nighter and Saturday tournaments over there, and he doesn't anymore because he's too busy. But I don't know what it's like now. I know a couple of years ago when I was talking to Mike Black, said that that 4 or 5 pounders were really common.
I'm a two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was.
I mean, Sarah, first tournament of the year, 25 pounds to win. Second turn of the minute of the year, 9.32 to win. The lowest winning bag in USA Bass in history on Lake Sarah was tournament number 2. And the third one that I was at, I didn't see it listed. They had like 27 boats. They said it was one of their biggest turnouts. I mean, 600 acres. That's a lot of boats plus the pleasure boats. And I think it was like, it was like 15, 14, 13 or 14, 13, 12. Everybody bunched up after that kind of day. And they
Now,
had a weird slot limit too.
yeah. Now, you was talking about 600 acres and, it's kind of a small. I have fished several tournaments on there with over 100 boats.
On Sarah?
On Sarah.
Wow. I can't imagine. Well, everybody gets a dock and it's like musical chairs, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think back and it's like, because that's where I grew up and stuff. So every tournament, big open tournaments, were 100 to 200 boats. Like Mill Creek.
Wow.
Mill Creek isn't that big. And the biggest tournament of my life that I've ever fished was on that lake. And it was a Lunker Chasers Open. They put one on every spring. And they had 275 boats on there. And man, Larry's looking back and says, I don't know how we done that because now when you get 50 boats on there, it's like you turn around and everybody's, where everybody's fishing. I said, can you imagine back in the day when we fishing it and had over 200 boats on this lake?
You'd have to launch from like every boat launch and it would still be a long way.
And there was people that did. And there was people that did because some of them would put up at their what we call the west boat ramp.
Yep.
Some of them would
Yep.
put down there at the dam boat ramp, which
Yeah.
is on the east side. And then they'd come out and then they would idle down to the other one because it's one of the lakes that you couldn't run. It was idle only, no wake after, when it was dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's well after 9. Probably should put a cap on it here. Let's go around the horn, get some final thoughts. Thanks for jumping on at the last minute here, having an engaging conversation here. Remind everyone we will no live stream next Monday. It'll be holiday week, and I'll be out, so I won't be able to do it here. And then we'll kind of have a little bit of a Ren preview, which we almost kind of hit today here, but we can hit that again and see who the guest is. James, what are your thoughts for the next couple of weeks?
I think I'll start with Kentucky Lake since us three is going to be. I know me, you, and Brad's going to be fishing it. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be about 15, 16 pounds to take it. On the 3 fish limit.
Yeah.
They're just, somebody's going to know where them bigger fish are.
Yeah.
And as far as Ren goes, pick out 2 or 3 rods and hit the bank and fish 8 hours.
Yeah, put your head down.
And when you get tired of throwing one, pick up the next one. When you get tired of throwing that, put that one up. And when you get tired of throwing the third one, sit down, drink your water,
Yeah.
then get back up and start
If
fishing
you
all
catch
over.
a keeper, put the other poles away.
Yeah, and there's going to be the guys that's going to fish it. I think there's going to be, that 13, 12, probably about 12 to 13. I think people's going to really been hitting it hard trying to figure out the fish. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's a small lake.
What you thinking, Eric?
I don't know. It depends. I think water level is going to have a lot to do with it. It's still up like 3 feet. You seen John saying they were in the bushes. I just looked at the water level and it's still up 3 feet. They were,
Wow.
so it's still in the bushes. Like you could still catch them there, but if we don't get rain, it'll be down to normal pool, and then there's very few bushes left in the water. So weather will be a big factor too. If you got clouds, it's a different lake than if the sun's out. So that's going to be the big deal with it, I think.
With the water up 3 feet, you gonna be able to get underneath the bridges.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The interstate bridge and.
Yeah, I fished that first USA Bassin, and it was still up probably maybe 5 feet. And I watched a guy go under the one in Sandusky. I wouldn't do it because I didn't want to mess my stuff up, but he went under it.
The one in Bath, the shallow pool back in the end.
Yeah, you couldn't get under the one in Markham. Wait a minute. Maybe it's not Markham. What's the word being Chris fish? No. Gun, you could get under the one, but you could get under that when we fished it. Up through the bridge and to the left. That first cove there.
Oh yeah.
Is that Markham?
No, that's
No, Markham's the one down by the dam.
Yeah, Markham's the one down by the dam. I understand.
If you go around and go underneath of that west bank where you're going up in there, like you're going to what do they call
Jackie Cove?
Jackie Branch.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Jackie's.
Yeah, you couldn't get under that one.
Yeah.
I tried. Like 2 or 3 boats tried that day in that USA Bassin, and you couldn't get under it. Yeah, but I think you can now.
Yeah, me and Fred, I say Fridge, but me and Chris fished a Midwest tournament and the water was up. We got underneath that bridge. You know how he done it? Because 2 weeks before that, Randy Blockett won a tournament by
flooding his boat.
And Fred's boat, Chris sunk his boat.
Pulling the plug.
We got back there and fished for 3 hours, never caught anything. Then we had to turn around and sink the pin and come back out.
So the other thing that's going to make it tough, you were talking about the pre-fishing. You'll have everybody pre-fishing. Well, the weekend before, you got the USA Bassins there. Angler's Choice is there also. I just looked.
Oh.
What ramps are they taking out of?
Well, USA Bassin always takes out a sailboat. So I think Angler's Choice takes out of Sandusky. But I'll have to go back and look. But
yeah, okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You'll be racing everybody else.
Shoot. Unless I got boat number 1, yeah, you won't make it to either one of them.
No.
True.
Sailboat will be all day. People be, if you get people that don't pre-fish it and don't know it, they'll go running in there because they think it's
I got good. 3 people that likes going in there. I fished it and never caught a fish.
No. I think now that bank right outside there that's leading to the bridge.
Yeah. Oh.
I caught them on that bank, but you won't. I've rarely ever caught anything inside of a sailboat. Like how they get out of there, I think. I don't.
Yeah.
I did in day 2 of the super tournament when I was out of it, and I was frustrated because I didn't get a fish a few years ago. So on the way home, I'm like, I'm just going to go in there. And I was flipping the back of the docks. I caught a 3-pounder and a 4-pounder. And went, okay, I can go home now.
Oh, no. Huh.
But it's, it's places you really couldn't get at from
Yeah.
being in a boat. I mean, I was in back on the shore side of the docks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Happy birthday, country. Everybody have a safe holiday. Have fun. Kick back. Kind of a, midsummer break for most fishing circuits. We're 2/3, 3/4 done, and we will in the next few weeks here. It'll be basically super tournaments in the end of the year. And if you're a USA Bassin guy, I just noticed last year they got like fall and winter series down in Southern Illinois on those lake. If you guys have ever done those,
Yeah, we got on Kentucky Lake or Barkley. There's a spring, or they start in the fall because fall starts the new year, so it goes fall, spring, summer, or fall, winter, spring, and summer.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll fish a couple of the Table Rock fall ones.
Oh yeah,
points.
Table Rock.
That's points for next year. So they don't get very many boats. It's easy points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what in USA Bassin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they'll only get about.
So they'll do like
10 boats.
like October, November, and then like February, March, or something like that.
No, they do them all 5. They'll do. I think they do 2 October, 2 November, and a December.
Oh wow.
Last year, the 2 November ones, they did a Saturday, Sunday. So 2 different tournaments. So it's good for us.
Right.
We go down and get 2 tournaments.
2 for 1s
and
on
a little
everything,
vacation at Table Rock and fish a place where there's actually fish. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So,
all right, everybody.
Well, everybody have a good weekend, and
You too.
I'll see you at Kentucky Lake, and I'll see you at Wren.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Hope to see you out on the road. Say hi to us. Have a happy, safe holiday, and whatever you do, keep your lines tight. Good night.